So before I get into all this insane news, the thing I want to just say up front is, this is 1 trillion times more important than the Super Bowl. This is 1 trillion times more important than polishing your Porsche or whatever. This is 1 trillion times more important than your golf game. And I know so many smart men that know this stuff's right. They tell me, hey, good job, Alex. But then I ask them, I said, what are you doing? Well, I bought something once from you, or I shared one of your links. Look, you don't even need to support me, but you need to do something. We need people to stop being spectators in this world. Think of everything as entertainment, and that you're not part of the world. You just look out as spectators. No, you've got to get in the game as the man in the arena. Because they got Trump encapsulated, they got him to totally start shifting. And every sign we see is he's getting belligerent and worse. So Trump walked into a trap. We predicted it a year ago with Kirk Elliott. This was one of their only moves. You now look at the body language of Larry Fink and other globalists. They look like they were dying 6 months ago. For the last year and a half, even before Trump got back in, they knew their own admissions were, we're done, everybody hates us. And now I look at Bill Gates when you see him pop up and Larry Fink, they look like 10 years has been put back on their life. They look like they got a spring in their step and they're floating on clouds, or they're running on the moon, just jumping, bound. They're like little happy Teletubbies because they got control of Trump. Used to, you'd hear him at a 2 a.m. interview, they say national news, Trump slurring his words, 25th Amendment in the first administration and the last 4 years before he won. And I'd go check it. It was always a 2 a.m. interview when he was on the trail, totally exhausted. I'm slurring my words at 10 o'clock at night, even though I haven't been drinking any. And I've been up at 4 a.m. and I'm still on air at 10 o'clock at night. I literally will fall asleep while I'm on air because I'm still focusing. I'll kind of go, eat a big meal, I'm done. He's 79 years old. So I would check the times that he was slurring his words or saying weird stuff. It was exhaustion. This ain't exhaustion now. He's talking like a Fruit Loop in the morning and at noon and at 5 p.m. and at 10 p.m. You still see old flair. You still see him kind of conscious here and there. But I know workaholics. I'm one. I know other workaholics, alpha, super type A's. And what happens is when you work, because I've stayed up for 2 days before on just coffee, not any stimulants other than that. And I started getting batty and weird like a day and a half into it. Well, Trump basically doesn't sleep. They say he sleeps even less now. His ankles are all swollen up. That's evidence of congenital heart problems. And so this is so horrific because I'm going to talk about more later, but we needed Trump to succeed. And the midterms now, those are not just in question, they're in deep trouble. But unfortunately, I'm not even having to worry about that right now because the big problem is the world economic collapse with the Strait of Hormuz and potential nuclear war escalating. So it's like the old saying, oh, sorry, you slammed your thumb with a hammer driving a nail. Here, just cut that thumb off. That'll make it feel better. How about we cut the whole arm off? I felt bad because I had no shoes, so I saw a man who had no feet. So my grandfather would always tell my dad, he would complain a little bit when he was a kid. And he would, had sayings like that about how bad feeling sorry for yourself is and how blaming other people is a big problem. And he didn't want to hear talk. He wanted to see results. Action. And with Trump, it's just so horrible because my broadcast is as popular as it ever was on YouTube. We're back on YouTube. But it's not really what I'm saying. It's curated. So all the left takes clips out of context. They'll play 20 seconds out of context. Use me to attack conservatism, use me to attack Trump, use me to attack populism, misrepresent what I've said, get all the views because my name's in it, millions and millions of views per video, every day. I can't even keep track of it, just hundreds of hosts doing it, 100,000 here, 300,000 there, a million here, 2 million there, 5 million there, I can't even just blah, 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 just tens of millions of views every day. And of course, YouTube, Google lets them do it because it's beautiful for them. They can misrepresent what I say out of context, add my credibility to it to the public, when I always add the provisos, they're 10 times worse and absolute scum. And I explain how important it is to win the midterms and get more good people in. And we got a lot done good with Trump until he went sideways, and I'm proud we got him in. It's been one hell of a fight. But they always cut that proviso out, and everything else has to stay around it. And it's a real problem because I need to be able to say all the truth things here, but then I'm trying to figure out how to do this without them repurposing what I'm doing with deception. But just know this, when you're seeing 20-second clips, you're being deceived. And that's why it's so important to actually come to the actual broadcast and to the segments and see what I actually said in totality. But I wanted to play this short clip that McBreen made right before the last Super Bowl a few months ago, dealing with the fact that this is the real Super Bowl of our lives and our future. So somehow, we get the average American to care half as much about freedom and having glyphosate out of the food and the poison shots and World War III and the declining dollar and the Strait of Hormuz, and to take this stuff seriously, we would be in such a better world. How do I do that? Here it is. This information we cover is not number one, it's everything. This is not some political genre. This is a fight for civilization and our very lives. You hear all these movies about coaches and stuff, get out there and win, and they all care, and they come together, and it's triumphant. That's for a game. But we recognize that because we're supposed to be able to come together and do great things. So the system goes, oh, you go out and do a children's thing. You go out and play a sport. That's where you put your manhood. That's who we honor. That's who we admire. Then they even take that away from you and put men and women's sports. It's all about taking every human institution and destroying it.
That was sweet, huh? Did you like that? Yeah!
So you watch these coaches in games, especially the playoffs, and they're just, everybody looks at the coach. That's good. It's how a man's supposed to act. He really cares. He's got the numbers, the facts. He knows the other side. He's on the ball. Because you're supposed to do that in life and business and culture and health and with your relationship with God. You're supposed to act like that about the real world, like Trump and Elon Musk are. Instead, these evil little nerds who weren't in the cool club and hate everybody, and they love passive-aggressive murder. It thrills them to know they're growing spike protein in everyone and killing everyone and making money off of it while they do it, and we're too stupid to figure it out. And you look at that photo with Fauci like holding Hotez, and Hotez was on TV like, there'll have a new pandemics. Trump will have it crashing down. He won't stop us. Your children need more shots. You don't think they don't know what it's doing? They did it on purpose. And so you've seen FBI chief counsel in Connecticut go, yeah, we wouldn't start the lawsuits on Jones. You've seen the CIA, FBI undercover videos are like, yeah, we couldn't take him out criminally. We investigated him and found out he didn't do anything wrong. And yeah, under national security. So we went and set all this up and ran PR about him and demonized him with stuff he never did so we could then do this. They did that to America. They did that to families. They did that to God. They did that to X and Y chromosome. They're attacking it all because it's in the way of their devilish plan. So that's a long intro, Victor, but we are in such a historically dangerous moment. It is horrifyingly dangerous, and it's escalating out of control. You've got the floor here to give us wherever you want to go first, whatever you want to talk about first. And is Trump salvageable? He seems to be more pig-headed. He's signaling he's going to get rid of Tulsi Gabbard. They're demonizing Joe Kent. We have to admit, this is pretty hellish. Victor Booth, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, hi. You're absolutely right. It's a 100% hellish situation, and hellish doesn't matter where you take it. It would be either, complete disaster, which means we are already in the World War IV, because to say it World War III, maybe to say nothing, and danger escalating every day. And the problem is, as you said, Trump completely flip on everybody. He flip on you guys who literally, brought and created MAGA movement, those who've been supporting him, those
that were sued and put in prison and censored and debanked and tortured. And he goes to all the never-Trumper enemies.
Correct. And he put even those, who've been arrested after January 6th, and being there, locked up until they start being releasing, even betrayed, I guess, everybody in America, but not only this. Problem is, we don't know what is Epstein coalition have got on him, how he jumped into this without, thinking. And now there is no way out. You've been, correctly saying he stuck his dick into this beehive, and now is no way getting it out without, losing something. Good if he just lose his dick, but problem is now what is at stake? Not only, future of America, but literally he started the crisis, which is very difficult to even, straighten up or stop, even if tomorrow it's all stopped, because damage is so severely. First of all, he completely destroyed all allies in the Middle East, correct? And now, by trying and committing these war crimes, destroying civilian infrastructure in Iran, he forcing Iran to respond almost, symmetrically, trying to also warn that, okay, you destroyed our university, we destroyed all American universities in the Middle East. You destroyed our hospitals, we gotta start shooting in the, Israeli hospitals. Yes, we know very little from Israel what is the real damage there. But since the Iran, every day on this, war using more and more sophisticated missiles and drones, that's definitely a big problem for the civilian population in Israel. The same, it's a huge catastrophe, humanitarian catastrophe for those who've been killed in Iran. And now it's becoming like almost indiscriminate hitting of the civilian targets. Did the Trump achieve its target to replace the regime? Answer is completely no. And this is the biggest mistake, because what he did now, he consolidated Iranians, and they, believe me, will stay till the end. But this is a kind of the, just a surface part. What is if we go a little bit deeper in this, dark waters, what's going on? Look, the situation is follow. Just several days ago, Ukraine attacked massively on the Baltic ports of Russia, where there is a main gate to export the oil. And then Ukrainians claiming, oh, we just attacked it. And it was a definitely, orchestrated, not by Ukrainians, but most probably by the British. And what they're trying to do, they're trying to cause Russia reaction to start the war with the NATO, thinking that the United States going to jump in. So,
it's a repeat of Operation Spiderweb, trying to strike Russia to get Russia sucked in, which again is totally insane.
It's insane. But moreover, think of this logic. There is a crisis of energy. Now you're trying to shut down export from Baltic Sea, which will only exacerbate the crisis. Then the oil will jump up to what, $200 a barrel? How it will affect everybody in United States or in Europe. And the Zelensky, who depends on the oil he was getting before, diesel, from the Hungary, because Russia would pumping the oil into Hungary through this pipeline, which called.
So let me throw this in just to show that, you obviously more than I do, but obviously the British are at the heart of the globalist system. Larry Fink admits he loves this war. They want a global collapse so they can have a Marshall Plan for the world. They want energy to crash. They can then blame Trump for all of it, and the Iranians, and they're wanting a global depression right now, and that's why they're also striking at Russian energy. I mean, this is just totally terroristic. Trump is like a light bulb going out, okay? And when they're about to go out, they shine brighter for a minute, and they get dark for a second, and for a couple of days sometimes they'll kind of go on and off, the old incandescent. He'll still have moments of genius. He still does a lot of great things. And he's come out a bunch and said, give Netanyahu a pardon. That'll take pressure off of him. And I saw it at the time, and I'm like, don't give that crook a pass. Wait a minute. Maybe Putin should just come out and say, because we know he listens to him, Netanyahu, at least to some position. They had to divert Russia with Ukraine to be able to get Syria and hand it over to the leader of Al-Qaeda. I mean, it's so immoral. Putin says, listen, we know you're in trouble. We'll give you $5 billion and a guaranteed, 100 square miles in Russia you can live, and you can have 100 of your own security people, like Russia already does for everybody, gets to have a place to get out. Even U.S. spies, it's like, seriously. or maybe in back channels say, listen, we'll give you $5 million and we'll let you move here because he knows he's going to prison. His back's against the wall. The Iranians are against the wall. Trump's out of his mind. I don't say that with pleasure. It's really obvious. Once you got ankles this big, you have heart failure. He's got cuts all over him. You know, he babbles half the time now. And they always said that before. It wasn't true. He'd get exhausted and would slur. But now Trump's in trouble, folks. And so looking at pressure points, ways to fix this. We can talk all day and do an excellent job at the problem, so am I, and the immediacy of this real crisis. But Victor Boot, talking about the pressure point of Netanyahu or other pressure points, how do we grab world peace out of the mouth of world Armageddon?
Well, you correctly, describe the situation. That's definitely a critical moment because we literally left days, not even weeks, whether we can stop it or then will be no any tools or any mechanism, any way to stop it unless divine intervention. And this is an issue. So the question is whether the Netanyahu, he is decision maker himself, he decides, or he is just a front person and what is behind. Because if you listen to all these rabbis and all these talks and chatter which going on, then you said, look, that sounds like really, satanic cult who is now decided this is their time and this now running entire the world because, as you said, it's a Bibi Netanyahu who calling the shots in the White House, who is deciding which target he attacks and where the conflict will go, because we know with these attacks, like on this oil storage in Tehran, Americans said, sorry, we Israeli hit it. We didn't, they didn't ask us. Sorry? Are you telling that Israel, who cannot exist without American taxpayer, funding their war machine?
And let me just back you up. You just showed your knowledge there. The chief rabbis, and Israel's gotten so, quote, right-wing, we can call it that, but that's what they call it, that people say, don't go to Netanyahu, he's not even the most radical, which is true. A bunch of his cabinet are even more psychotic. Correct. And they are saying, we are making the Messiah come back. Literally, they believe that they're about to force the Messiah. So this is literally insane.
And they expecting Messiah any day from now. I guess even tomorrow, 1st of April, there is a lot of the, referring to the Torah, referring to the this and this. Some of them saying, eventually even Trump Messiah, because he was anointed, by this, hitting his hair. So this is really going out we human, we would think, okay, look, doesn't matter. We have a different language, different religion, but at least there is a core values where nobody will do this, obvious stuff, because even you in the war, you don't do it. But these people has no limits. Look, and the most dangerous is the Zionist, ideology, who's thinking that everybody else in the world is their slaves after the Messiah comes, and they entitled to rule and entitled to, really put everybody into slavery. What kind of this ideology? Of course, it's not of them. There is a bunch of the rabbis who criticizing them, but this is something wrong. This is a system which is completely, uncontrollable now. And this is a question, who's behind? Who is also took Bibi Netanyahu as a hostage? Yes, we know he under the pressure to being in the jail for the legal issues, or he in the political power struggle. But I believe if you are really have any feeling and you are a real patriot of your country, on certain moment you're going to say, hey, why I would not admit this? Yes, I will be having a punishment, but at least I save other people, and that people will remember you in the history. Look, this man had the courage. He came out and said, yes, it's my mistake. I'm taking responsibility. I go to the jail. But think of this, one man scared to go in jail and killing so many people and putting entire humanity in the planet into hunger.
And I think despair, you're right. It's these insane messianic groups behind Netanyahu that are the main drivers, and you look at them, they're wild-eyed. They really believe that they're about to have a Messiah up here.
Correct.
So it's like having the Heaven's Gate Hell Bop cult in control.
Correct. And this is the issue. We are dealing with somebody who has no anymore logical capacity to understand the reality checks. They're feeling that this is their moment. They've been waiting for this entire, their history. They're thinking they're going to take revenge. They're going to destroy Al-Aqsa Mosque and on Temple Mountain to start rebuilding the temple.
I've got hundreds of top rabbis saying they want to destroy America because we're the new Rome, because Titus sacked Jerusalem and destroyed the second temple 2,000 years ago. That is beyond cuckoo. And I mean, I'm talking leading ones on Israeli TV that Europe and America will be destroyed as the new Rome for what Titus did and what Pompeo did. I mean, that's just beyond bizarre.
Unbelievable. They couldn't exist without your support and without these interceptors. And now they run out of the interceptors, and we see several days where the Iranian literally, just demolish whatever they want to demolish. And this is an issue. So what the Israelis now, what is the exit plan? Think of this. Sooner or later, America will withdraw. Thanks God, would be no nuclear conflict worldwide. They have to withdraw from Middle East. And how Israel is going to survive? By alone around...
Well, let's answer the question, Victor. We know what's going to happen. Israel was intimately involved with the neocons staging 9/11. Clearly the next card to play, it's all they have, is a massive nuclear false flag or something to blame Iran.
Correct. That's I think from get-go, this is a scenario. And unfortunately, the Trump, just been again hijacked, become a stooge, become, controlled, or they injecting some drugs. We don't know, really.
So how do we stop that? Because if they're going to do the false flag on Iran, who else are they going to do it on? Russia, maybe even China.
Correct.
They're going to go whole hog here. So how would they do a false flag in Russia? We know they've been trying to claim Russia's going to blow up nuclear power plants, and then they try to blow them up. So they kind of always mark their territory first. What type of false flag should we look for? What do we do about that?
Well, the idea is, Russia, all security services on a high alert because just recently in, center of Moscow was prevented a very huge, terrorist attack. Well, but this also come that, basically center of Moscow was without any cellular communication, forget about internet for several days because of this. But at least they prevented it. But these people will try day in, day out to do something. And for them, the bigger, terrorist attack, the bigger, quantity of the victims, the best for them. They are bringing sacrifice to their deity, Satan himself. And this is an issue. And unless we grasp that it's not normal people, we have very little chance to stop it. So,
well, how do you, in your great geopolitical, military, and business history, how do you respond to a death cult? Is there nothing we can do talking to these messianic groups, including the Christian Zionists, to get them to stop it, or is there's no talking to them?
Look, right now, look, if they are like in any cult, you can't really break because they've been so conditioned into this. They bought it so deep. For them to admit that this was wrong, they can't. They will be, it's literally like any suicide cult committed the massive suicide in Guyana. What was the year?
Jim
1980.
Jones.
Yeah, Jim Jones. Because they all, drink this Kool-Aid because was they so strongly believe. And this, we have exactly this level. And the psychologist says, hey, there is no way you can stop them. But the problem is...
So we need more Joe Kents and more officers to blow the whistle and go public. And we need the military and people, when they're given treasonous orders, not to follow.
Basically, look, only thing can stop it is basically the coup, palace coup in Pentagon. That is, somebody who realizing what's going to be next has to stop, has to eventually, arrest, president on something, declare the, emergency situation to say, hey, we're doing it not because we don't care about constitution or this, but this is now just survival of everybody in the planet because these people destroy and kill everybody. What use now to discuss democracy, freedom of speech, blah, blah, blah. They use it just to bring all this. I
totally agree, but Victor, you're a military expert. I mean, because I know you know your stuff. So let me ask you this with a lot of Russian understanding, obviously. Explain to viewers, I know most of our viewers are smart and get it, but the neocons, the media is like, oh, we've already won. We're blowing it all up. They don't understand. The Strait of Hormuz is going to stay closed. Trump's going to be put under pressure. The Iranians back against the wall. It will plunge the economy. It's already happening. So we're pushed to put troops in. Then they get surrounded. It just gets worse. It escalates. That's why you say it leads to nukes. So people need to understand this isn't like Afghanistan or Iraq or even Syria. This is all accelerated. Can you explain to people why it leads to nuclear war, which is what all the top experts are saying, but the public still doesn't get this is different?
Correct, because the problem is, look, Iran is different cookie itself. It's a hard die, you know. You can't. They've been expecting Iran should surrender in the second day maximum. It doesn't happen. Oh, damn! They've got so many missiles, and apparently nobody willing to betray it. Nobody taking our bite, taking money to make the revolution within and surrender. Because they're real patriots. They know what is coming, because you can't deal with people. They kill you, they kill your family. So Iranians has no choice like Russians did. So we know that enemy going not only after you, and whatever they're offering is just trick you. And when they trick you, they kill not only you, they kill everybody around. You for them is just nuance. They want to control, or you are slave or you be killed. That's now the choice.
And now Trump wants to blow up the water supplies, a war crime, and they're now dropping 5,000-pound bombs, dozens of them, on whole neighborhoods the sizes of Lower Manhattan, just destroying indiscriminately. Again, that's going to enrage the Iranians, which the numbers show they're even more behind the war now.
Correct. And now you make entire nation. If before would be a pretty significant part of population against the regime, now the same people are telling on Iranian TV and all other sources, look, if these people do, let's put aside all differences. They come to kill us. They come to destroy our monuments. They come to destroy our schools. They killing our sons and daughters. They are destroying what is Iranis. So what do you expect from them? Surrender? Oh yes, please. Bring our son of this old Padishah. They don't care anymore. You did actually more to consolidate Iranian society than anybody would even dream to do it. You know, you put it back, you know, the newer version of the Ayatollah, who now has mandate. If previous one issued the fatwa to never, produce the nuclear bomb. Now, nuclear weapon apparently only solution for your sovereignty. Look what's happened to Iran, because they have everything, but they didn't want to make a nuclear weapon. So this is an issue. So now all the treaty non-proliferation is gone. So basically, we don't have any more international law as such, because Trump and this cabal destroyed the small remaining, bits of this international law. And now we are in the Wild West or whatever, everybody.
And expanding on that, I know the globalists above this know exactly what they're doing. When Israel has come out, advised them to kill the Ayatollah, saying they give up, all experts agreed that would make them fight harder. And the same thing here, blowing up civilian infrastructure is only going to make them madder. So Trump is literally being given advice, ignoring even the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. The head of CENTCOM is a bad guy. He's on board with this. Basically, an Israeli operative. He's telling Trump what he wants to hear. Hegseth is telling him what to hear. And as it gets worse, they just keep declaring victory. But the evil BlackRock above it, I have a clip of Larry Fink we're about to play. He loves regime change. This is his excuse for a global depression, which he admits he wants to consolidate economic control, bring in the social credit score and the rest of it. So here is Larry Fink, so excited. His body language for last year has been like he's dying. Now suddenly the globalists are so happy. They've got a cover for a world depression. They've got everything they wanted. Here it is.
It's a cessation of war, and yet Iran remains a threat to trade, a threat to the Straits of Hormuz. Then I would argue that we could have years of, above $100, closer to $150 oil.
What happens to the global economy if that happens? How do we see it?
We'll have global recession.
And he goes on to the full clip to basically call for regime change. I put the full clip last week. Here's Erik Prince, a day into this happening. He's not a dove, he's a hawk, but a real geopolitical expert, operating all over the world, with Blackwater and all that after it. He couldn't believe when Trump first struck and laid out what was going to happen. And then he said next will be boots on the ground, because he knows the next move. Here he is.
Yeah, real quickly, we got 2 minutes. I know you got to bounce. Because I know the president respects your opinion. If you had a chance to talk to the president today, what would be Erik Prince's recommendations to the commander-in-chief?
Don't ever contemplate ground troops in Iran.
You think that's even a possibility?
I didn't think this was a possibility today, over the last couple of days, Steve. I didn't really think that was that he was going to do it.
So let's be clear. They called Joe Kent a coward, a traitor, even though he's like one of the super soldier. I mean, the top cream of the cream. And I talked to Delta Force guys. They said he's as good as it gets. And his wife got blown up over there serving this country. They call him a traitor. But the chairman, all his advisors told him, but he listened to Howard Lutnick and political people that don't know how to find their ass with both hands. Victor Boot.
Well, look, this is absolutely, clear, crystal clear. Yeah, everybody told him not to do it. He's still doing it. So what is a remaining, check and balances? Was no congressional approval for this war. We know that the timeline approaching. But do you think that Trump cares about this? I think no. Eventually, if military will not make the coup, so he himself will do constitutional coup, arresting everybody who's speaking against him, putting in the prison and then declare dictatorship to say, hey, here, I'm now the emperor. I'm going to rule you. It's exactly like we watch into the Star Wars. You remember the episode when democracy within one night transforming in this, empire. And you have a new emperor. So eventually, Trump got kind of the high feeling after Venezuela. I can do everything under my power and control. So what heck is around? We're gonna bomb it. It will surrender. And who gonna tell him the truth? Because eventually, everybody around him feeding him information. We know that he not really reading intelligence report, is useless to brief him. He just scrolling TikTok style, how many and what we destroyed, how many bombing, how nice this picture. Man, it's insanity. But the problem is, as I said, there is no any good scenario now from now on either.
Exactly. So what is Russia thinking? I mean, I guess just do what we have to do then.
We are preparing for the worst case scenario because everything activating. We know that Ukrainians, since this starting, trying too hard to provoke, to start this war immediately. They don't give a fuck about their own country, about their soldier, about coming to negotiation table. Zelensky went to this, trip trying to offer his solution against the Iranian drones as if he himself can protect anything inside the Ukraine. And then, we okay.
Yeah, pretending like it's not the United States running it all.
Correct. Yeah, pretending. Yeah, but still, United States providing all intelligence for this attack, British organizing, orchestrating everything. There is still finance going on, and the American weaponry being flown, purchased by NATO, and supplied to Ukraine to start killing and, basically.
What is Russia's next move? Because Russia's won the war for years. Ukraine's fallen apart. A lot of the weapons are being diverted now to Iran. What do you expect Russia to do?
Well, first of all, we hope that especially our president and military command are very, very restrained. They're very focused. If you see, there is no any childish statements, any declaration of the victory. There is always serious discussion going on how to end and what real objectives, and they've been set up. And the Russia know unless we remove the root cause of this conflict, we can't stop, because then the conflict will reignite again.
Well, I know Trump respects Putin. Do you think Putin's got on the phone and told? I know Trump. They had one call a few weeks ago where he said, "Yeah, we want to end this." What could Putin say to Trump to get him shaken out of this?
Well, I guess, he talked to him 2 weeks ago. He also, about the same time, talked to the Bibi Netanyahu, talked to the Iranian president, talked to somebody else from Iran. Eventually, Russia, as far as we see from outside, tried all attempts to be at least channel to pass some information, trying to find, how at least stop it from escalating further.
And then our media got mad when it's clear that Russia has helped with some satellite intelligence. What do you think the U.S. and NATO have been doing for 4 years? And everybody gets so mad about that. I mean, obviously, Russia wants some pain in the other countries so they don't keep escalating.
Sure. But look, think of this. If Russia decide, okay, we're going to deploy our also tactical nuke in Iran as a help. So what you gonna do? Because you are providing all these missiles. American missiles actually destroying Russian city as we speak. You know, HIMARS and all ATACMS. You know, there is definitely Ukraine cannot launch deep inside Russia attacks on our refineries, on our production sites, without intelligence providing from US. Because you know, NATO is a zero without America. And this zero now trying to rule, you know.
That's right. People that don't know, they don't have the satellites, any of it. It's all us. Since you mentioned this clip from episode 3 of Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith, this is what Trump's turning into. Here's the clip you mentioned.
Right.
And the Jedi Rebellion has been foiled.
What's happened?
The Chancellor's been elaborating on a plot by the Jedi to overthrow the Senate.
And the remaining Jedi will be hunted down and defeated. The attempt on my life has left me scarred and deformed. But I assure you, my resolve has never been stronger. In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire for a safe and secure society.
So this is how liberty dies.